All right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another We've Read the Documents live stream. Your host, John Brisson. Thank you for being a subscriber. I want to thank to everybody who donated to me. Thank you very much. May God bless each and every one of you. All glory to God. I'm glad to be back with you. Hopefully, I'll be able to do some more streams this week. I got S90 here with me this evening. We're going to go over CPAC. This is a continuation of a previous stream that was done where Trump has said many times that he will be our retribution. We know as Christians in a biblical worldview that God is our retribution. God is our only retribution and will ever only be our retribution. Okay. And we know in the end times the defeat of the Antichrist comes from Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ treads the winepress alone. Trump saying that he will be our retribution is not biblical and it's not Christian. CPAC 2024 was we will be your retribution. In that, the group of Trumpites, the ones who are following after Trump, this Council for National Policy, and the far conservative right party, the MAGA movement. Remember, MAGA means witch in Latin. Okay. They were celebrating. They were celebrating throughout CPAC in its entirety. And we're going to play various clips and comment on various players and what they said. Where the common theme of CPAC 2024 is that they will help Trump bring retribution. Vengeance. Where we know through Scripture, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Okay? So God, pays our retribution. We don't do it. Okay? We're told to turn the other cheek, if all possible. We're told to love our neighbor as ourselves, to forgive our neighbor. How many times has God the Father forgiven us? And so, a common theme that we're going to play, and this is, I used to be a believer in, the QAnon operation somewhat. I was bought in, not completely, but I believe that Trump was going to save America. I voted for Trump in 2016. I was a Gnostic New Ager at the time. And, I was bought in through the psychographical, psychological, and spiritual warfare that was done during the 2016-2015 election cycle. And, I believe that Trump was going to bring retribution. Even at that time period, it was a common theme back then. It's something that, the QAnon movement has pushed, whether it's the discussion of military tribunals or executions. It's something that has been discussed since then. But now we have major people within the Council for National Policy literally saying the same playbook that was mentioned in the QAnon operation of military tribunals, of executions, of beheadings. We know in Revelation that the saints are beheaded. That was not a common form of execution to my knowledge during the Roman Empire. You had crucifixions. You had stonings. If it was Jews killing Christians. You had, being thrown to the Colosseum, the lyings. But you didn't have guillotines beheading people until the French Revolution. We're even going to hear some of the players tonight discuss that because it's true to my knowledge. So we know that within the Noahide laws, the 7 Noahide laws, that is being pushed by the Judaizers, that if you break any of those as a Noahide, as a Gentile, that you will be beheaded. Okay, not stoned to death, which is what the law said, during the time of the law, but you'll be beheaded. So we're seeing, believers in Jesus Christ, those who profess Jesus will break the Noahide law when it comes to having no other idols. Okay, so it's kind of coming together, this theme of beheading. And again, that wasn't a common theme, to my knowledge, of death by governmental force during the Roman Empire. So there had to be a future, prophecy to come. I believe in Revelation that is the future, and I believe that we're going to be living in the tribulation here soon. So one of the methods by death, you have the QAnon movement mentioning, you have the Noahides mentioning, is beheadings. So I do believe that is something that may come to pass. Maybe. Okay? Scripturally, we know that beheadings will come to pass, but we don't know by what method. We don't know if it's going to be by the Judaizers, Noahides, pushers, or we don't know if it's going to be by Christian nationalists and by the Antichrist, who I believe is likely Trump. I'm not 100% coming on here and telling you it's Trump. I'm 100% coming here telling you, thus saith the Lord. I'm still fleshing out of whether, Trump's of the tribe of Dan or not, or if Elon Musk is the tribe of Dan or not. But we're here, okay? S90, are you with me?
I sure am. How's it going?
Good. It's good to have you. All right, so I've been following CMP KT McFarland, who was a part of the Trump administration, okay? And notice that in her bio, okay, she has Revolution Trump and We the People. So her book, Amazon #1 bestseller, is Revolution Trump, Washington, and We the People. Okay. So We the People, is a major kind of like phoenix rising up from the ashes, because of how these occultists play. Okay. Buzzword, Dr. June Knight talks about this a lot, of kind of be like they're going to combine the right and the left under the Antichrist into a synergy. Okay. So if you see the We the People buzzword, you'll see it in a lot of liberal and progressive groups and propaganda as well, too. So it's not only coming from the right, it's coming from the left. Okay. Any thoughts about that before I play her, S90? Anything you got to say to start out with?
Nothing to add on that. That's pretty spot on.
All right.
It's a good take. We've got to hear what they have to say.
All right, let's go.
So after your political adversaries, how do we fix it, KT?
Well, we better fix it
Savannah?
soon, because my concern is, having seen what happened with the Trump administration and how every conservative was sort of fair game, right? They were just target practice for the FBI and the Justice Department, that in a second Trump administration, everybody's going to have to lawyer up from day one, because they'll come after you for overdue library books. They're going to look for every excuse they can get to prosecute people, to go after them, to harass them, to subpoena them. And at the end of the day, they know they have infinite resources. They can come after you forever. But you are paying for your own defense. So you got to mortgage your house. There goes your insurance plan. There goes your retirement plan. And you don't get reimbursed by your insurance, by the Justice Department. They just come after you. So I think that we better figure out how to fix it, because if the Trump administration comes back in, it's not just Donald Trump they're going to go after. They're going to go after every member of his administration for something. And every one of the government agencies, which is populated by 97%, the swamp is 97% Democrats, the media is 100% Democrats. They're all going to come after any Trump appointees, guns blazing. And so I don't know how the fix is. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a victim of all of this. But man, I don't want to see any more victims.
You're exactly right.
All right, so has the Biden administration be weaponized against the Council for National Policy and the conservatives and Trump? Yes.
It has been.
Of course. But that's by design. Okay. You have to have the pendulum swinging very strong back and forth, right? To be able to con the public. Okay. So most people get behind the persecuted underdog. Okay. We see that through political history. Even though most people despise Bill Clinton when he was going through the impeachment process in the 90s, he was the underdog. Now, I believe the impeachment process was pushed through by the Council for National Policy. I think it was a false impeachment process. They didn't go after any of Clinton's true crimes, whether it's Whitewater or Mena, Arkansas, or drug trafficking, or the Clinton body death count, or whatever. But they were sympathetic to Clinton, just like many people are sympathetic to Trump and still are to this day about him being impeached and him being legally persecuted. Okay, it's how to gain sympathy. All right, so this is setting the stage. KT McFarland's on like the mild side of things. Okay, kind of like a mild buffalo sauce. All right,
she's very measured.
Yes,
moderate.
And I would say that she is one of the biggest snakes in the grass. She's very intelligent, highly intelligent, like a viper. Okay, wise as a serpent, right? But is she, as gentle as a dove?
Well, and you said it right, because it's she's sort of setting the stage for what's going to happen after Trump gets in. All of the lawfare that's going to occur against him and anyone who's quote unquote on his side, right? And so she's sort of setting the stage, saying, "What are we going to do about this?" They're sort of,
It's a stage of the forerunner, as Alice Bailey said, right? She's like, what are we going to do? Well, we're gonna get the answer from other people tonight.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not even that she's setting the stage just at CPAC. She's basically like explaining what's gonna happen in next year, when it's like all these lawsuits are gonna come out against this person and this person and this person and this person, and it's almost as if she's kind of insinuating like the law will, like, she's almost just sort of implying like we can't let that happen by what, even if they try to sue us into oblivion, we'll just not let them take us, or resist, or I don't know what. But it's just really, it's a really weird way to word it, the way she said it. And like you said, it's very serpent-like kind of wording, very I don't know. I don't trust her at all. She's clearly a deceiver.
Yeah, very much so. That is true. All right, let's see. Next, we have who you believe is going to be vice president, Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, and I suggest anybody who's listening to go listen to his full speech. Okay. But we're going to place a few things from here, discuss a few things about him. He's, retribution in his speech, taking it to the swamp, drain the swamp, take it, KT McFarland just used a swamp buzzword. They're all repeating the same stuff. They're all repeating. It's like a playbook. They're all, they're all repeating it.
It's almost, it feels like it's listening to like Alex Jones.
Yeah.
It's like 12 years ago.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, let's see.
All right, fired up. All right, here's your new VP. Notice he's the only one standing up. He's the only one with any energy. He's the only one walking around, pointing and like interacting with the crowd. Half the time, the crowd's not even applauding when they should be, because they're just completely like mesmerized. If you're a brain dead, still writer. If you're still on the right side at this point, I could see a lot of the CPAC type audience, the Charlie Kirks, the America First types being like, yeah, this is what we want. And it's got some very ominous undertones.
Yeah, very much so. All right, let's begin.
How we get this country back, how do we get those ideals back? I'll tell you, this is how. They're the best.
Now notice it's live TV by the new Tang Dynasty. Falun Gong, anybody? Falun Gong? The Chinese cult, Falun Gong?
Measure of our country's health. Is it the number of green pieces of paper in our bank account? Is it the number of ballots that get cast every November? These things are important, but it's not the most important thing. The best measure of our country's health is the percentage of people
I'm just testing the volume. Is it better now,
who
chat?
feel free to say what they actually think in public. Right now, we're doing poorly. The only way we're going to do better is by all of us, not just me, not just Donald Trump, all of us starting to speak the truth in the open again. Say in public what you will say in private at the dinner table. Say it with a spine. Say it with
Go and
conviction.
spread your filth, your conspiracy
respect.
theories in public now.
Yeah.
But part of
Talk about the
respect is that you
swamp and the
respect
deep
your
state
neighbor
voting
enough
system.
to
Yeah.
tell him what you actually think, not some fairy tale made-up, woke-washed version of it. That's what it actually means to be an American. So it's not going to be some political messiah coming from on high to save us. It's not going to...
Yeah, see,
okay.
wrong.
That is definitely a lie. That's definitely, he's lying there. Okay, because what he sets up, because remember Vivek Ramaswamy believes in God, right? He's a monotheist Hindu, supposedly, allegedly. Okay,
Right.
And so what does he say afterwards? After there's no political messiah, which I agree, there is no political messiah.
But he's going to say right afterwards, he's going to say, there is no political messiah, but you have to vote for Trump or else the world's going to end.
Yes, of course. All right.
So...
All right.
to work that way. If we're going to be saved, it is going to be because we save ourselves. Every one of us has to do our part. Look,
Vivek, can't save yourself, bud. The only Messiah is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the only one that ever existed, the Son of God, Son of Man. You sound like a new ager there, Vivek. You can save yourself, right? But what does he say after that? What does he say after that?
ourselves in the mirror. Ask yourself what you're going to do this year to make a country for our children that's not the same country, but the one greater than the one that we grew up in. That's each of our charge. It's not just Donald Trump's job. It's your job. It's every one of our job to do our part, to stand up and speak the truth.
And the rest of the speech,
The truth without apology.
the rest of the speech is how much Trump is coming to save the day and drain the swamp. That's the setup, and it's Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, is that easy? All right. Now we have Vivek Ramaswamy with good old Javier Milei, good old Jewish Chabad
Chainsaw.
Javier Milei. Look, just look at him. The degenerate Javier Milei. All right.
If he was like if he was a wrestler, it'd be like Javier the Chainsaw, Third Temple Malay.
That's true. Yes.
Marxismo afuera. Howdy, congratulations. Thank you very much. Very happy. And you're more of a Mises guy. I'm a Hayek guy.
Oh, good. Libertarian economist. Who's your favorite libertarian economist? Can we get some libertarian economists like trading cards? Okay.
But there are good synergies between the two. And we want to bring that mentality to the U.S. So that's what we need to learn. How you actually shut things down.
Pero uno de los más maravillosos pensadores de la libertad fue Murray Rothbard.
Oh, that's right. Very much so. And so you can't reform these agencies. You have to shut them down.
You gotta gut them. Okay.
Yeah.
But not only gut them, you gotta demolish them.
You demolish them and then you erect what you want, because you can't just have no FBI. So you get rid of the FBI and then you replace it with the Vivek Bureau of Investigation.
The Stasi?
And of course
The Stasi?
everyone who's employed there is people that you've hired. But yes, this is all just for freedom, right? Yes.
The Stasi, right?
Libertarian economic policy.
Of course, right? Paging Days of Noah. Page of Days of Noah, the future B system, libertine system. Paging
Paging the rest of the world.
Yeah, true.
You're doing, and so I'm proud of you for doing that. You set a good role model. Así es. We want to bring that to the U.S.
Oh, it's coming. Oh, it's coming. People will be cheering. We'll be cheering for it. Okay. But look, it's Tulsi. Oh, I've done a whole series on why we can't trust Tulsi Gabbard. How she's not our gal. Okay. There's a whole just hour-long plus. Thanks to Carl Hassel for giving me some information for it. Just shocked with why we shouldn't trust Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, go look it on my Odyssey channel. We read the documents. All right.
For real though, I'll just give everyone the too long didn't read. Yet none of the people who went to CPAC can be trusted.
Oh, not a single one of them. Cursed is man who trusts in man, trusts in God. Okay. All right, and that's including me and S90. Though we're born-again Christians, we're human beings, and we will let everyone down eventually in some form or fashion. But only God will never let you down. Okay.
Dude, you sound like you're about to start singing Johnny Cash. Hurt, I will let
No.
down.
But all right, there are, as something I lived by a moniker on this channel, there are no heroes except for Jesus Christ. All right, we'll leave it as that. All right, let's go ahead.
It's wonderful to see you all here again at such a critical time. Our democracy is under attack. The perpetrators of this attack are those who, in the name of saving our democracy, are destroying. I don't use these words lightly. Every one of us who loves this country and who cherishes peace and freedom should be very alarmed by those who, driven by their insatiable hunger for power, are actively undermining all that we stand for.
That's all I need there. Look, me and S90 aren't standing with Biden and the current regime, just like we're not standing with Trump and his incoming regime. Yes, Biden is horrible. The people that run Biden, because Biden doesn't even know where he is half the time, yes, they're destroying the country. But it's by design. It's called the Great Reset, okay? And it leads to the false Great Awakening. The controlled Great Reset leads to the false Great Awakening. Okay, so before anybody comes into here and they try to say, what, do you like Biden? You like Obama? You like Clinton? No. None of them. But I don't like Trump either. I don't like any of the CMP conservatives, just like I don't like any of the CFR liberals. Okay? They're all one united elite. All right? And they serve Satan. Okay? Not a fan. Not a fan. Any thoughts on what Tulsi had to say, S90?
No, she's not going to be VP. It's Ramaswamy.
We'll see.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. Look at how boring, how just so dull and boring.
Yes, but you have to remember that Tulsi does literally have, if I remember correctly, JSOC training. Training.
That's cool.
So she knows how to do psychological operations, okay?
Yeah,
she ran them down there in Africa, if I remember correctly.
She's like Lady Flynn. Okay, I get it. That's fine. But you see, I think there's two different ways that Trump can go when he's picking his VP. Is he going with the political House of Cards, Game of Thrones, political machination stuff? If he's doing that, then yes, he'll pick someone from the CNP. But if the time has come to start adjusting society and the mechanisms that we use, like the internet, the FBI, things like this, money in general, if the time has come to retool society, then he will pick Vivek. That's what I'm saying. And I think that time has come, the time for them to unleash all these, whatever Tim Pool calls it, a parallel economy or parallel technology or whatever that all these people...
Which is what Dr. June Knight calls a circular economy. Which is true, it's what it is. Here, Tulsi Gabbard, this past Independence Day, has special significance for me. While I was deployed in the Horn of Africa working as a civil affairs officer in the support of special operations, mission to go after al-Qaeda-affiliated jihadists. In the Horn of Africa? Really? Okay.
Islam has a massive presence in Africa.
Yep. JSOC. All right, so we got Sleepy Ben Carson, who I think is...
I don't want to go to bed yet.
Who I think is, upper echelon for vice presidential candidate, Sleepy Ben Carson.
Yeah, he's one of these political picks. He's one of these picks if you want to maneuver around the politics, if you want to straight up just gut everything and restructure society, as we kind of anticipate happening, 2030. If we're looking at the left being the people gutting society and imposing like a technocracy on top of it, then that's like, Agenda 2030 or whatever. But obviously, if there's someone who's kind of against that, then they're going to have to do something before then, obviously, because can't wait till afterwards. So I'm just thinking, like, if these people are going to do this, it's going to be now.
Now we have to watch our words.
The world future society, yes.
And I agree with you. We have to watch our words here. But I believe that Sleepy Ben Carson gains Trump back some people that he lost due to the pandemic. Because he's going to be the anti, Fauci
Anthony.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the anti-Anthony.
Yeah, he's going to be the anti-Anthony. Okay. Because they even put him up here on CPAC as America's doctor. He's America's... CMP Ben Carson is America's doctor.
And And notice how DeSantis had a similar roster. It was DeSantis and his Surgeon General,
who said a lot of Gnostic things about mRNA. He said a lot with Tucker.
They know that's sort of a piece of. It's sort of like an unfilled role, but it's almost like a not official role. Like, I know he's not going to literally put Ben Carson in Anthony's old spot, but there's almost a place in the American heart for a Ron Paul type or a Benjamin Carson type, like you said, like a doctor that everyone can trust him, right?
And before we think, oh, Sleepy Ben Carson's a true Christian, let us forget he is a Seventh-day Adventist. Okay, just putting it out there, just saying it,
Oof.
So, so Dr. Ben Carson, Sleepy Ben Carson, says everything they have, they're throwing at President Trump because they're desperate to stop him, and they're desperate to stop you and me. Vice President Sleepy Ben Carson. There you go.
I want to point out one thing. I sent you this. I don't know if you were busy at the time, but I sent you the clip of the Joker when he snaps the pool cue in half, and he throws the piece of the pool cue in between two people, and he says, "I have one job opening." That's what all of this is.
Oh, very much so.
These
Oh,
people
yes.
are all trying out for the VP job, and this is why I'm saying Ramaswamy won, because he's the one who delivered.
Every single one of them were trying for this. It was literally the Trump's apprentice, but for a vice president.
Yeah, but it's like who will be the last VP of America, and they all know that's what is up here. They're all bringing their A game, and it's sad that this is some of these people's A game. Just saying.
It is pretty sad. It's pretty sad. And by the way, Tucker Carlson with the Florida Surgeon General Latipo. And I never did do that stream, but what we know through the worship of mRNA, the mystical aspects of it that Barbara Marks Hubbard has spoken of, Latipo talks about the mRNA is able to change your DNA in humanity forever. Tucker asks Latipo that. So Tucker's a Kabbalah. Modern science is from Kabbalah. Okay, has ties to Kabbalah. Okay, I've done streams on that. Okay, so the Kabbalist is asking Latipo that question of literally changing humanity forever. Okay, and Latipo says yes.
Oh man.
So there you go.
I've been reading a lot of the World Future Society authors' fiction that relates to a lot to that, the things that shall not be mentioned on YouTube, right? The various things. That factored in a lot in the 70s and 80s, and it was, we meet aliens 6 million years in the future, and they call us human-like because we're not as evolved as they are because they've edited themselves and stuff. It's really weird. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, that was just
no. I mean, it all,
kind of an icky tangent.
It all connects. And then we have good old Ben Carson. The doctor is in. America's doctor is in. Okay. Trump's only crime is representing the American people first. So let's listen to Sleepy Ben Carson here. Don't fall asleep. It's only a minute. Okay, so Sleepy. All right.
And now our justice system has been weaponized against the administration's top political competitor with absurd witch hunts from every corner of the country. It reminds me of the old Soviet slogan, "You show me the man, and I will find you the crime." They are throwing everything they have. Think about it. Everything they have, they're throwing at President Trump because they're desperate to stop him. And they're desperate to stop you and me. Trump's only crime is representing the American people first. And for that, they're trying to put him in jail for the rest of his life, tie him up in court, take all of his assets.
But hold up. I haven't heard, put him in jail for the rest of his life. I haven't, is that actually something that's
if they charge him with treason through the insurrection, yeah.
Okay,
actually,
that's kind of a pipe dream.
Actually, technically, death penalty?
All right. Let's go back to Carson. That was
terrified
wild.
of him.
Okay, yeah.
They're incredibly unfair, and if we allow this to happen, America will never be the same again. We have to stop it.
Yes, that's why he's been known forever. Laura, shout out to Magical Mystery Church. Go subscribe to Laura's channel if you haven't already. That's why we call him Sleepy Ben Carson, because he's always just that way. He's always extremely sleepy. He's sleepy. He puts people to sleep. He lulls them. You know, in a way, he's better than Mike Pence. He's like the gold standard for CMP, because he's going to bring dignity back to America, and he's going to tell Trump not to make any mistakes with any future pandemics. You know, like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All right, so here we have good old Council for National Policy member Charlie Kirk speaking with Jack Posobiec, who former Navy intelligence, Bannon's capo, CMP. Stephen Kennedy, Bannon's capo.
Actually, John, there's no such thing as former.
Exactly. Jack Posobiec. Okay, and they're okay. So first, this was brought to my attention by Midas Touch, which I know is a very, very far left progressive outlet, and they kind of slant everything. So they talked about Charlie Kirk wants Coca-Cola sponsored television executions of Trump's political opponents. Kirk suggested children should be forced to watch them too. Now, he did say that. They kind of cut it weird. The reason why they cut it weird, and something they failed to mention in the whole Midas Touch article, okay, is they're discussing whether or not pedophiles should be executed or not, okay? That's not mentioned in this article at all. To be front up and fair, to be out front and fair, it's not mentioned at all in the article, okay? It's not,
Oh my
all right?
gosh.
So that's a blunder on their part, because then any conservative could say, well, they didn't even mention frame what they were really talking about, okay? Which is true.
This is the
True.
but
However,
that's
now let me get there. However, Kirk did practically say that. And we're going to get to it, okay?
yeah. The left is so stupid when they report on this stuff. If they just reported honestly and in context, they could still make these people look as bad as they actually are. It's not difficult, but they're always so conniving and sneaky with their edits, and it always blows up in their faces. The stupidity is insufferable on how the left can't combat the right. It's almost
It's by design. It's almost like it's by design,
it's
right?
fake. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like fake. Like, you'd think one person would figure out how to actually refute some of these people without being an idiot and getting caught doing something stupid and devious. Like, it's so frustrating, man.
And of course, we have the Charlie Kirk show presented by Noble Gold S90.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna have to look into that. That's really interesting. Because the gold sponsors of all these shows.
Oh yeah,
the key, and there are people that people like who are linked to this who you wouldn't even imagine. Anyway, I want to point out in the chat really quickly. Someone saying, "Wait, public executions?" ? Yeah, kind of like what? I don't know, like David Wilcock and Q and all these
Benjamin
other fools
Fulford,
I've been talking about.
and all the rest of them.
But I want to point out. So I just want to say this because we don't have the clip on hand, but what they're talking about, what in the the 17th letter of the alphabet sense, is they say that there will be 8-hour films televised 3 times a day, so that's 24 hours, right? The movie will be broadcast 3 times a day for a week on television after the emergency broadcast system goes out,
and which are pushing heavily right now on Twitter. It's being. I said it's S90 all the time. They're published. Yeah. They're pushing it like crazy. Okay, go ahead.
And so this is what they say, quote unquote, the plan is. Mm-hmm. Is that the the emergency broadcast system will go off, then the white hat military will take care of the deep state, and in essence. One person said, I think it was David Wilcock, he was saying, don't go out in the street, you'll probably just get shot. And it's like, okay, this is definitely not sounding very white hat already. But anyway, let's continue. And so they say the emergency broadcast system will go off, and then they say there'll be an 8-hour movie 3 times a day for a week. And the way Wilcock said it, I'll get this clip for you maybe for this show or for next show. And he literally says, you must watch one of the 8-hour shifts of Confessions of the Elite before their execution. That's what these people from CPAC and Turning Point are talking
They're saying,
about.
yeah, they're literally saying it. Not like that in depth, but they're saying it. But they're saying
they won't say that letter. But they won't say that letter of the alphabet. But they're saying the same thing as it.
This should worry you. This should concern anybody. Now, granted, I'm not here to spread fear because ultimately we know God's got us. All right. But this should concern you, and it's concern anybody who's listening who doesn't know or doesn't understand this. Let's say there's people that are in the deception, like you mentioned, that think that Charlie Kirk's our guy. They think that Trump's our guy. They think that all of these people are our guys. Okay, this should concern you because this is America. Like, this isn't good. It's like, I don't know what else to say. They're going to start killing people like the French Revolution, like the Jacobins. My family, my ancestor was killed because of the Jacobins. So
quite a few people in chat want to see Wilcox's little clip. I will have to look for it. There's a channel that has it. They play it all the time. It's called Truth Seekers. I'll go find the clip of Wilcox saying this.
Shout out to Cambrian.
At the end or something. Yeah. Shout out to Steve Cambrian. He said he would devote 1 hour a week to doing interviews on other channels. I think he'd be great to have here simply because he knows other angles on the same people that we're looking at. And we know, because one of the times I was listening to him, he's like, I can't even figure it out. It's like all these people know each other. They do.
Yeah, you and I might have to interview them together. We might have to.
Yeah, all things aside, other things aside, information is information in that respect. And he's got an upcoming show. If I read the title of the upcoming show, I don't even know what will happen. It says something about David Icke and 2 missing people. And I'm like, what is he going to expose next week? So we'll find out. Anyway, I'll go look for that clip while we listen to Charlie Kirk here.
All right, so here we got Charlie Kirk. So in context, they're first talking about whether or not pedophiles should be executed. Okay? Midas Touch left that out. All right, that's important. But they claim that Kirk talks about the execution of pedophiles, which Kirk says in this clip that it should be sponsored by Coca-Cola and that children should be made to watch. Then they get in a debate on what age should the children watch the execution of pedophiles or criminals. Okay. Then Kirk finishes it by saying Trump's enemies should be executed. Okay.
Also, yeah.
Then they finish by Kirk and Posobiec being like, "Oh, we believe in innocence until proven guilty and the rule of law." Give me a break.
And I want to point out something too. The scripture, at least the whole thing about the millstone and stuff, they're misinterpreting that as far as I can tell. Yeah. That's not what it's talking about. It's not talking about literal children. It's talking about the children of God, which is everyone of every age who's growing up in faith.
Any pastor that's leading them astray. And even if the passage itself is about kids itself, it's saying it's better for a millstone to be put around their neck than for God's wrath to be upon them because they're going to spend eternity in hell. Okay. So
it's not talking about they take it so literally, and then they say it's all about these are the exact kind of people who read the Bible the way they want to get the answer that they want from it.
Yeah.
Right? Even the Masons disrespect people like this. I saw a video yesterday called "The Degree of Knife and Fork Masonry," and it's how they disrespect brothers who only come for the food and not the philosophy. Even the Masons disrespect people who do that, right? Like it just people who just pick and choose what they want from their own supposed holy.
Well, so, I mean, remember the family and the fellowship. Many of the members just carry around the New Testament. They don't even carry around the Old Testament. Okay, so I mean, what do you expect? All right,
it's all very frustrating.
Let's play CMP Kirk here. Okay, now remember, this is someone who runs Turning Point USA, who's very high up in the Republican Party. Though he is young, he has a very high standard. He was, the seed money for Turning Point USA was given to him by Council for National Policy President, who is no longer living, who's deceased, Foster Freeze. Okay, Charlie Kirk just ain't some random QAnon person on the YouTubes with a channel. Okay, you got to keep this in proper perspective. All right.
It's always just very difficult for me to imagine having too much sympathy for anyone where you could have done literally anything with your entire life and you chose to wantonly kill someone, prey on anyone, destroy a child's life. And so, that could be a follow-up to this, which is there anything else you would support the death penalty for? And
yes,
a lot of really predatory crimes,
defrauding thousands of people out of their life savings.
Yeah, mass fraud, which China executes people for this. If you engage
they do actually, yeah.
severe
Including
fraud or
100%.
severe government misconduct of some egregious corruption, that, and then also
Non-guilty
even just something like really depraved forms of armed robbery or assault. If you could do anything with your life and there's people in cities who do carjackings and then, they shoot someone, or those guys who were driving that car in Vegas and they killed that cyclist by running him over.
I think they should get the death penalty.
Even if that man had lived, I think you could credibly say they would deserve the death penalty.
Yeah, no, in the strict biblical context, blood must be spilled for blood. If you talk in justice terms, that if a life is taken, there must be a life taken.
We're returning to the old covenant, right? I thought we lived in the new covenant. I thought, it's greater to love thy neighbor as thyself, to forgive. I find it, and I'm not saying that criminals should not be held, who are found guilty of heinous crimes should not be held to governmental, retribution, from a governmental sense, be bestowed upon them. Okay, I'm not, but I remember when I was a New Ager, and I used to see people forgive the people that murdered their loved ones, and be like, how in the world could they ever do something like that? They're so stupid. They should want to kill that person. Okay, but now as a born again believer in Christ, I realize that as believers, is something that's extremely hard and difficult to do. We are called to do such a thing. Now, that doesn't mean that the person doesn't face whatever the government has bestowed upon them as their punishment. Okay, just because you forgive someone for murdering a loved one doesn't mean they don't face any jail time. But the way Kirk and Posobiec and Bauer and Neff, all of them, especially Kirk, he's bloodthirsty. He's bloodthirsty here. Okay, and again, we live under a new covenant. Not the old covenant. And you're going to see a return to being pushed of Judaizing, of the old covenant, of the old covenantal ways. And during that time period, and no, I'm not a dispensationalist, but during, the time that the old covenant existed, then yes, it was God's rightful judgment and law to stone people to death that committed certain heinous sins and abominations. Okay. But now we're under the new covenant, as a people, as a collective, even as a government, those specific Old Testament laws are not called for now. And so, it's a fine line. There's supposed to be, forgiveness and some chance of rehabilitation. Now, I'm not saying that someone doesn't face their punishment for their crime. There should be, within a governmental structure, some form of governmental justice, whatever that may be, even though we know that all justice ultimately comes from God. Okay. It's a very complex and nuanced discussion, but none of these people, except in lip service, have any grace, have any forgiveness, have any chance of giving these people any type of rehabilitation. It's all kill them and let God sort them out. Okay? And so during, the time of the new covenant, we're called to forgive. We're called to turn the other cheek. Okay? And a lot of people, they just don't want to hear that. They want the retribution now. They want it now. And a lot of people want it by their own hands and by their own methods and not relying on God. And it's a very fleshful thing. And a lot of people are going to be very upset by me saying all these things. They're going to be mad because they're going to be in the flesh. They're not walking in the spirit. Okay. And they're going to take what I said out of context that, oh, well, this person just murdered this family, so you're saying they should walk free. I never said that at all, period. I never said that. Okay. That's not what I'm saying. But, taking what I'm saying from a balanced biblical approach compared to their straight bloodlust, bloodthirsty vengeance approach, okay, there's a major difference there. A major difference. Okay, let's continue.
Period. End of story. That you just can't just roll your eyes and say everything's just fine. You want to read Pope Pius here, Jack?
Again, that's pushing, they would look at someone like me as being weak and just saying, I'm rolling my eyes and saying everything's just fine. Okay? That's a bad faith argument. That's a really bad faith argument.
Yeah, because I think, and again, this is the head of the church. This is the Pope in 1952. And
okay, Posobiec is a fallen Catholic. He's not a born-again Christian. We should pray for him. We should pray for all of these people, okay? But Posobiec's, reading from the Pope, so his words are infallible, okay? They're equal to Scripture, okay? And yes, I'm being facetious because none of that is true. None of that is true, okay?
He says so eloquently, it's the most eloquent quote I could find, summarizing basically what we're saying about the difference between these two types of individuals that we encounter in our societies. The innocence of a child, which obviously is what pedophilia defiles, right? It defiles the innocence of a child, so directly connected to this, versus a hardened murderer. And here's Pope Pius XII, and this is 1952. When it is a question of the execution of a condemned man, the state does not dispose of the individual's right to life. In this case, it is reserved to the public power to deprive the condemned person of the enjoyment of life in expiation of his crime, when by his crime he has already disposed himself of his right to life.
Any final thoughts before we get to the next topic?
Not really, actually.
Tyler, do you want to chime in on this?
Now, again, I'm not done. They're going to say, well, but John, we are doing it through the state. But they're not. It's not going to no longer be by a jury of their peers, and does that even exist in our modern times? Okay. It's going to be tribunals.
What is the...
I'm not like a super passionate either way about the death penalty itself. I'm like, I think I agree with the sentiment that we're talking about. Which
I
is
think
like,
you have to have caution.
There's reason to kill people, and there's reason to be careful about killing people. And so right. I think that's the happy. I feel really good about the political context of the Idaho thing. I think we should have a couple.
100%.
I've always been a big believer. Like, you need a couple Ron Pauls in Congress. We need a couple of really crazy states in these.
Need a couple of Freemasonic CMP Ron Pauls in Congress.
United States,
yes.
To be like, we're going to do some really crazy stuff, and that's going to balance out. It's like we should be negotiating from
100%.
As extreme as possible. Idaho is so deep red. We need them to do stuff like this. So then maybe we'll take pedophilia more seriously.
Look, here's the thing.
In California and Arizona and everywhere else, because we have the left, the radical left, is trying to normalize pedophilia. So it's okay. It's to normalize killing people for pedophilia.
Anything to say to that real quick, S90, about how it's only the left? The Franklin scandal ring a bell? The conservatives that were involved in Epstein ring a bell?
No, I mean, dude, some of these people drag all these
Colonel Michael Aquino ring a bell?
He's cool.
Yeah, it's
pedophilia
is only on the left, right?
Yeah, of course, yes, and only the bad people are on the left, and
yeah,
the left says only the bad people are on the right. It's so pathetic.
Oh yeah, the right's also pushing the LGBTQ movement too, like Tucker, and it's not the left. It's only the left is pushing the degradation of America. Only the left is pushing the LGBTQ plus movement. Only the left is pushing abortion. Only the left is doing this. Only the left is doing that. Only the left is full of pedophiles. It's like, what are the conservatives conserving? It's ridiculous. Whatever.
Russia doesn't have it, by the way. Russia does not have death penalty.
Oh, by the way, Russia doesn't have the death penalty, by the way, supposedly, allegedly. So then they're kind of
sure. They're
gonna have to back off. They're gonna have to, back off of everything they just said, right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, no, honestly, they don't have the death penalty. They just put you in a gulag and take you out for a midnight walk in -50. No big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Very few places do. And what's funny is
they need people to work out.
America is a more democratic. It proves how America is a more democratic country, because if you poll on it, the death penalty is popular for murder in almost every country, and yet in Europe, no one has the death penalty. Almost no one does, even though a lot of them would vote for it. Elites just say, nope, we're not doing it.
And
Belarus has the death penalty, and you know what they don't have? Pedophiles.
It is a deterrent, and I'll prove it to you. Not a study or it's very simple. If a society said you will get the death penalty for robbery on every day but Thursday, what day would the robberies occur? I rest my case.
Oh, Friday, of course.
The people that
there'd still be people too dumb.
Wait, so
but then they'll be killed, and then eventually behavioral patterns will be learned.
So Russia got rid of it.
Nathan Wade.
When we had the old covenant, which is the reason why we had the new covenant, because old covenant was a schoolmaster, and all these people, were being put to death for their crimes and sins against God, crimes against people as well too. Did it stop the Israelites? Did it stop them from continuously sinning and finding idols and worshiping idols? Did it stop them? No, the wicked heart of man. It's like.
Well, dude, these are the people who will. I don't know. I get the vibe that it's like these are the same people who would say like, well, God sent Jesus down because it was like these are the kind of people who would say like, well, what, did God make a mistake when he made the old covenant?
No, it's just that man couldn't.
I know. It's man made a mistake. Yeah, exactly. But it's always God's fault, not man's fault.
If the gospel went in mass and people's lives were supernaturally changed by God and became born again in mass, that would do more for reducing crime than anything else. Let's be real here. But, I mean, do they talk about that? They talk about preaching the gospel? Go forth and, preach the gospel and baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? They talk, no. It's killing. No forgiving, blood and killing, blood and retribution, killing. These are our so-called conservative Christian voices on Salem media. Conservative Christian, Judeo-Christian CMP Salem media with CMP Epperson and Atzinger III. All right, and good old Dennis Prager, CMP Dennis Prager on Salem Media Group with Charlie Kirk. These are supposed to be our Judeo-Christian, conservative voices. And all they want is bloodlust and death. I'm sick of it. None of these people are true Christians. None of these people are born again. None of these people, at least from what I could tell, open up their Bible and actually read them. I'm tired of it. These are all wolves in sheep's clothing, and I'm sick of it.
They saw passages they liked on Twitter, on memes, and then they used them to advance their political agenda.
Yeah, the bloodlust of these people. The bloodlust. And it'll be their downfall eventually when Jesus does return and they are destroyed and obliterated. And may I pray that they become born again before that happens and they have a change of heart and God supernaturally changes them. I pray.
It's literally about the only thing left that could happen.
Yeah, Anika. Imagine the CMP building a Coliseum in the United States. They will. Oh, they will.
Would try to say that... Well, it was 11:59, Your Honor, and
no. And as far as other death penalties, I think what some of those guys did to Donald Trump to use the instruments of government to destroy the constitutional order that should be under consideration. Okay.
There you go. The enemies against Donald Trump are equal to pedophiles. And if you think that's a false equivocation, you're completely wrong.
You'll
and you need
also
to really
be on
think
that
about
list.
some things. Okay? Because that
If
was
you
a
disagree with
shoehorn
Charlie,
in.
you're going on the list too.
That was a shoehorn in like I've ever heard a shoehorn. Okay? And yes, he is equating the two. And if you say that's a logical false equivocation fallacy, you're wrong. You're wrong, and I'll argue until I'm blue in the face. Okay? Because this is ridiculous. Because the whole speech about killing pedophiles left to a ending comment with no rebuttal of Charlie Kirk saying, and so shall be some of those that came against Donald Trump.
The thing that annoys me the most about these people like Kirk and Fuentes and Posobiec is that they say these things like the clip that of what Posobiec said while he was there. You can't really criticize it necessarily because all he'll do is, oh, I was just joking, bro. You know, and of course it's a lie. Yeah, he wasn't joking, but you can't do anything with that. You know, you just look like an idiot.
Yeah, you're right.
And all the kids are like, haha, cringe, boomer, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
let's
find a different way.
You're right.
You know,
and let's finish this clip up where they literally have a discussion of what age is it okay for kids to see public executions when we're supposed to be against violence in video games. And I remember when I used to laugh when I was a teenager, wanting to play Grand Theft Auto and being like, hey, this is desensitizing me to anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was a kid.
Funny,
I didn't know any better. I was an idiot.
Dude, it is funny that you bring that up because I had that exact same realization and conversation in the last week. Someone was talking about, there was a study that was done that was talking about traumatic experiences in video games, and everyone in the comment section was like, ha, only snowflakes could be melted by video games. And I was thinking back, and it was this stupid Call of Duty game, Call of Duty Black Ops 1.
Yep, I played it.
You're swimming through the Vietnam jungle, and you sneak onto this boat, and you just knife this dude in the throat and twist, and it's just the visual of it stuck, like I have like nightmares about that constantly. And so it's like, what, am I just a snowflake? Or is what's more concerning the people who have no reaction at all to seeing something like that? You worry me if you have no reaction to that at all.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about the fact that dude, that traumatized me, definitely. Video games have given me a lot of things that experiences I didn't ask for. You know, just like LARPs and ARGs do to people.
Or the algorithms pushing on X, the guy who protested the Israeli-Palestinian war. The self-immolation. I didn't want to see that.
Yes. Yeah, but it made you see that. Exactly. And so these are experiences people didn't ask for and may not be able to handle, but who cares about that, right? You're just a snowflake. These people are mentally deranged. And it's rules for thee and not for me. You know, they'll rag on the left saying they want to control everything. So do you. Stop lying. And then, oh, I was just joking. It's irony, bro. I mean, I don't want to underestimate these people. They're idiots. And I don't want to, you know, you don't want to overestimate. I don't know, man.
I understand.
I sound like George Bush. I sound like George Bush at this point.
It's frustrating. All right, let's continue.
It is.
Let's talk about this. News headlines in recent weeks report that Mark Zuckerberg, who made his big tech billions by collecting data on your interactions, is building an apocalypse shelter.
Let's skip this.
You can overuse that.
Ad ring.
Okay. So someone was like, Charlie, you're antibiotics. Well, here's a way you could do it. It's twc.health terror thing.
No, I remember. You like when people are saying, "Oh, Charlie's, not going to be on the show or something." I was like, "What?
Doesn't happen.
Like, dude's a machine. Yeah. Like, it does not, just come in literally. I guess like the delivery truck had just been there right before I got back from the airport, and I was like, boom, I just checked, and then or if you want to go to your PCP, you've got to get an appointment, and it's been really great.
Okay, it's twc.health/c.
Bro, did he just say like legal PCP? Is that?
No, they were talking about
this
health
can't
stuff.
Be right, can it? The last execution in France was guillotine in 1977.
Here we go.
100% true.
There we go.
Until 77.
Yeah.
So they talk about American forms of execution in the past, which was hanging and being shot, okay, which was primarily Mormon, okay? A lot of blood when you get shot multiple times by a firing squad, okay? And then they're talking about executions primarily being French, during the Gnostic Enlightenment of the French Revolution, the Masonic French Revolution, okay? So now they're going to talk about why we should have public executions and what age should a kid watch it.
I just want to bring something up real quick.
Yes.
Just 2 seconds. Annika in the chat was talking, the way she phrased something, she said, hey, kids, let's watch these people getting executed like murderers in the...
Danganronpa.
I have no idea.
It's
Sorry,
a video
never
game.
even heard of that. Okay. But I saw a movie trailer for a couple of days ago, and it was called Boy Kills World. And it's about... It's almost like set in like a Hunger Games world, and it's just like this one dude on a vengeance quest against... all the like the mayor and all their lieutenants and stuff. And at the start, it's the opening thing is like you see the guy getting like choked out by like Captain Hook in a costume, and he's like, "That's me. I'm about to be executed on national television by a bunch of breakfast cereal mascots." And it just makes me think of that. And there's like the audience is cheering in the movie, and there's this guy's like fighting off a pineapple that has a sword and stuff. Just reminded me of that. It's called Boy Kills World. It's a new movie coming out, and it's like televised execution.
So yeah, they're priming. They're priming by mocking.
Yeah, for sure. And it's got a really famous voice actor in it who plays the voice of the character, like his internal monologue, because he doesn't speak. It's such a weird. Whatever.
And Nika also mentioned execution storytime hour coming to a library near you. So with the left we have a training story hour, and on the right we have execution story hour. So yes, I can see the parallels.
What
Very
is
true.
this world?
Very true.
Man?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Videotape of it. Honestly, that's like what we should be doing, and I agree. It should be public
And
it should be public
televised.
square.
By the way, you could
force
fund the
kids
government
to watch it.
You could have like brought to you by Coca-Cola. And no, I'm not kidding. By the way, I would totally tune in to see some pedo
I'm not kidding. Okay.
get their head chopped off. Convicted by a jury or
By the way,
that's gonna get
no.
clipped
I'm
out.
talking about a real thing. I'm not talking about
all executions in Belarus are by firearm.
No,
that's not a choice or anything.
Andrew's
That's-
saying don't make kids watch it, and I think the
Well, I
absolute
think at a
opposite.
certain age,
At
it's an
16,
initiation.
16, if
Why
you
not?
can drive, you can
No,
watch
but hold
it.
on.
So now we're gonna have an argument over the age of kids watching public execution sponsored by Coca-Cola, and this is stuff the QAnon operation would say all the time. Something I myself, when I was under the delusion, thought was a good idea. Yeah, I'll admit it.
Yeah.
I admit my flaws. I admit when I'm wrong. Okay? A good old 8 years ago, I would have been right along with the world has to see the evil and has to see it so we can have the Great Awakening. What a deceived person I was.
Yeah. And there's actually, I wanted to point out another, again, it goes back to the World Future Society authors, all this, the programming that they did, but it was, where was it? Right. There's just a real quick quote. It just says, "It is difficult to stir rebellion among those to whom all things are good. There is no room for evil in their minds, despite the fact they suffer it constantly." So you have to be shown it. You have to experience the evil, which is why they make the world bad on purpose, right? With Klaus and Trudeau and all these people. And then they will stir rebellion up, and then the heroes will come in and save us.
And that's
all.
ultimately the devil behind all that, and God ultimately being in
yeah.
control. But, it's a false lie of the angel of light selling it to you. It's
and the book that comes from is called Lord of Light.
Seems about right. Yep, there you go. There you go.
So
here we have Posobiec and CPAC. He was joking, right? Joke, haha.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace.
Yeah, Bannon's joking, right? The crap-eating grin on his theosophical face. Okay,
Bannon's laugh sounds fake because it's not.
No.
It's not funny to him. It's like this is.
He's a Joker, and it's a Joker
like, yes,
persona.
please.
He wants it all to burn down, and he wants to laugh and laugh and laugh as it happens.
Replace it with,
Dude, it was
with
probably
this
his idea.
right
That's
here.
why
We'll replace it with
Yeah.
this right
All right.
here.
Amen.
That's right.
He amens that. He ain't joking.
Because
And
all
and
glory.
that was a rosary too, I believe.
Oh, yeah, of
all
course.
glory is not to government. All glory to God.
What God? What God, Jack? The God of the Bible? The God of all creation?
Or is it like God and Mary and the saints and
And
the angel,
and
my ancestors and blah blah. What is it? And the tree in your back. Like, get out of here.
These people. All right, here we have Bannon at CPAC. Get ready and strap in. Stephen Ketamine Bannon.
He looks like he's always like off to war, because he is.
No, very much so.
The New York Times is throwing Biden under the bus every day and backing him up over him. That shows you they know he's an illegitimate regime head. He's a usurper in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. To every working class Democrat and populist in the Democratic Party, when we get to the White House and go through and adjudicate the fact that 2020 was stolen and this illegitimate regime, what they've done to destroy this country, nobody that loved this country would do what he's doing to the country, would they? Would anybody think about it for a second? What if our framers came back today and saw 10 million illegal
I dispute
aliens?
that point, though.
Go ahead.
Somebody who's brainwashed into thinking that that is the correct thing to do to save the country would do it, just like you're brainwashing people with a bad idea for how to save the country. Like, to the people doing it, it seems right. Like, you can't dissuade like the psychopath from what they think is right.
No.
It is right to them. It's like I always go back to that first quote from the first episode of Game of Thrones where they say, like, the insane person sees what they see. You can't tell them they didn't see a ghost or whatever because they have schizophrenia. They did see it. You know? Globalism is good to the left. They believe it. I don't know. Like, it's like people are doing this because they believe it, not because they don't believe it.
Oh, the true believers on both sides. You have snakes like Bannon. Bannon's not a true believer. Yeah. Bannon is definitely full of demons.
But what they say, they believe what they say, is what I'm saying. When they're saying,
some
like,
of them, yes, some of them,
we're
no.
going to get rid of the democracy, we're going to replace it with this, we're going to tribunal that. Yeah, they believe that. And the same with the left. They say, like, oh, we're going to have free, enforced love speech and blah, blah, blah. Like, they believe that that's the right way to go, and they believe they're going to have it. It's crazy.
Yeah, John, go watch my stream if you want to know more what I call Stephen Ketamine Bannon. What I call him, put the ketamine in for the K. On Odyssey, just search Stephen Bannon, Peter Thiel, Maps, the continuation of Matthew Norris research. It should pop up.
And Carson just said that his god is probably Ignatius Loyola, and that's funny because I was reading Vivek's short biography earlier, and he went to Jesuit Xavier, I think, or something.
Yeah, seems about right.
And he has links to Leo Leonard and Thiel as well. So this is why he's going to be the VP.
CMP Leo Leonard. Oh, we'll see.
Telling you.
Invaders that they have gamed the system to bring here. Nobody. Give me that again, ma'am. Lock them up. All of them. Garland, Ray,
like Bukele.
Biden.
How we lock you up, Bannon? How we lock you up at all the crimes you've done? The defrauding. Didn't they say they were supposed to behead mass defrauders? Isn't Bannon a mass defrauder with the build the wall scam? Oh, no, it doesn't apply to him.
History is written by the victors.
It doesn't apply to him, right?
No, history is written by the victors in the ministry of truth.
Yep.
What they did to this country is unforgivable.
What did you do to this country, Bannon? What you've done to this country through Cambridge Analytica and all the ops that you've done and the floating of the ketamine into this country and the promotion of the ketamine, you are a traitor to this country. You are a traitor to the American people, Bannon, just as much as they are. It's ridiculous.
Isn't saying something unforgivable just not Christian?
No, it's not. It's no. I mean, no. You're right. It is.
But it's not a Christian thing to say.
No, it's not. It's not.
That's not that. Like, there's just so many warning signs that these are not the people that you should be throwing.
No, because of their bloodlust and
especially if you're a Christian.
No
it
forgiveness.
Doesn't matter if you are or not. You shouldn't be going with these people.
No.
We will not forget it, and we will never forgive it until
we will not forget it, and we never forgive it.
Justice is done.
Well, you know what God's going to tell you, Bannon.
Yeah.
I forgive you the way you forgave others.
He is hellbound.
Now, some of our folks may say justice in this case is retribution. I will let that be defined as we go forward.
Defined as we go forward. Trust the plan.
Yeah, we'll decide. So that's something that's happening in Canada right now. We're gonna pass this law to do with things, and like I don't even know how much about it I can even say, but it's like we're gonna pass this thing first, and then we're gonna define what all these terms mean later. Okay, sure.
And what does he say in closing?
But we're not going to back off this. President Donald J. Trump is the greatest president of the 20th and 21st century. Think about it for a second. When they stole the election.
All right, that's enough of this.
He looks like Fat Wolverine.
So we have Bukele. I can never pronounce it. The leader of El Salvador.
Bukele.
Who Philosopher King. You gotta go listen to his speech. I don't have time to play it, but again, it's
like listening to Alex Jones.
Yes, it's a great awakening speech. Trump's our guy. We're gonna save the world from the Federal Reserve and George Soros and the deep state. I mean, this guy's a literal dictator. All right, literally arresting people with no due process and putting them in jail first. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not disputing the fact that there's going to be a lot of criminals he definitely could have arrested, and I'm not shedding a tear for criminals who get arrested.
Yeah,
I really am not. But, bro, imagine being swept up in that. Like, there was one video I saw, and it was like, is having a tattoo enough to get you arrested in El Salvador now? And I'm just kind of like, this sort of blanket. And it's the way all the people from CPAC always, this is what we need. We need more El Salvador. We need more Bukele. We need more Bitcoin volcano BS.
Carson, really I did not say that word. I said Bukele. Okay, I just stuttered there for a moment. All right, but Gam says, shout out to Gam. Hope you're doing well, brother. Oh boy, my Salvadorian Trump. Yeah. Oof. No. So we have a Trump. Now, mentioning Javier Milei. Okay, so look at this.
They can go whale out a wall together.
Milei is happier than when he was at the Wailing Wall, just like Donnie Darkins said. Haven't seen Milei this emotional since he was talking about building the third Jewish Temple Solomon. All right, he is happy. He is elated.
This is wrestling, bro.
He wants to just give him a big old... Yes, he's crying,
dude.
like at the Wailing Wall. He wants to give him a kiss. He wants to give him a big old smoochie.
That's messed. Dude, that's like when Trump and Vivek were hugging.
Why are they playing YMCA in the background? Listen. I say, young man. Remember Trump and Roy Cohn allegations?
Thank you, MAGA. Make Argentina
great again.
MAGA, make Argentina great again. All right, let's play this real quick.
If crooked Joe Biden and his thugs win in 2024, the worst is yet to come.
Because Trump his motto for his campaign is the best is yet to come, baby. All right. Any closing thoughts, S90? I got to go to bed, brother. Any closing thoughts?
No, there's the David Wilcock. It's not too long that everyone was excited for. But other than that, no. There was a guy there, and I watched his speech, and like it literally bored me to tears, unfortunately. I really wanted him to say something exciting because I wanted to introduce this new character to you guys called Jay Iba, who goes to CPAC every year. And he's got an amazing selection of movies, and John and I are going to watch them at some point here.
We've been talking about it for months, if not years.
I know.
So
years.
Get ready for New Age anime and One World Religion and a Happy Science Cole all rolled into one.
Anyone? Yeah, like I know a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, cringe, I'm not tuning in. There's a reason. There's a very good reason why John and I would subject you to cult-made anime. There's a very good reason. And it's very entertaining, and you'll learn a lot. learn a lot what not to believe.
All right, let's play Wilcock real quick.
3 days is the new briefing. This is something that I had told Elizabeth a few days ago. I was very, very excited about it, but there is no way that I was going to open my big effing mouth and be the guy who ruined disclosure for planet Earth. Believe me.
He's still out on YouTube. Not me. But David Wilcox, 500,000 people. He's still perfectly fine. Still perfectly fine.
And
Yeah, I
his
don't
million
want
and
that. So,
multi-million.
I was actually quite shocked when I found out that we were authorized to leak that intel. So when you no longer can get online and when your phone doesn't work, you got to wait 3 days.
The 3 days of darkness. The 3 days of darkness.
And then when the lights come back on, metaphorically speaking, even though they shouldn't be off, we're not expecting abnormalities in power. When the lights come back on, what have we been told? We've been told that every news channel and all the websites, all the television shows, they're going to have this 8-hour chunk of information. And they're going to play it 3 times a day. If you want to watch the whole thing, you got to watch 8 hours. It's going to run 8 times 3, 3 shifts a day of 8 hours. And that's all there's going to be.
You have Ryan Gable, the so-called secret teachings, saying it's a scam and authorized by who? He's there to play the juxtaposed to Wilcox. Now, I do believe something like this will happen.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a good thing at all in the slightest bit.
No, exactly. And so the reason I wanted to play this is because this is, I hesitate to say this, but this is most likely what will happen at some point. And a lot of people, and you can see it in the chat and you can see it in the comments and stuff. A lot of people mock this, saying, never happened. Because this was from March 29th, 2020. This was supposed to be about the cough. And, never materialized. But and that's the thing, is we can ride the ability to deny it because it's outlandish and stupid and it could never happen, quote unquote. One day it's going to, and then everyone's going to say, oh my gosh, David Wilcock was right. And then he's suddenly going to have 100 million people who believe him, right? And so it's kind of important to discredit this stuff ahead of time, to minimize the number of people who are, because guys, this is going to happen.
Or something similar to this is going to happen.
Yes, these people, the people we are currently able to dismiss and laugh at, are at some point eventually something's going to happen, and it's going to be true. Whether it's Tesla energy or med beds or aliens or something will be made to happen that was impossible and is true. Anyway, keep going. He's almost done.
And this is going to be information that tells you that the planet was being run by a satanic cult. And I know it sounds crazy. It's like, well, David, this sounds like a really stupid, bad horror movie, but that's actually the way this thing is going. There are people on this planet who have been here trying to plot against us for many, many years, and they have not succeeded. They have lost decisively.
And I just want to point out this is fair use.
You really
and
want to
transformative,
understand
since
what's
John
going
is
on.
commenting over top of this.
I'm going to talk about some archetypes today. And one of the archetypes I'm going to talk about is the father.
That's enough.
That's enough of him. But yeah, so that's the gist. There is more. He talks later in other clips about, he'll say there will be military in the streets. Don't mess with them. He says it's best if you just don't even bother going outside. Just make sure you have food in your house. And then on other broadcasts, like the one with Mike Adams and stuff, he's talked about how they're going to be fighting aliens and stuff.
Now I will say this:
so
Dr. June Knight's talking about it. She's read various accounts from Q people or fellow Christians. I will say this: if it does happen where the internet goes down, completely, it's probably best that you do stay in your house during this time period, if it happens. Okay. Now, supernaturally, if it happens during the Great American Eclipse, and it really is darkness for a certain determined amount of time, don't leave your house either. Okay. Look, we don't know what's going to happen, whether it's going to be some sort of, biblical darkness during some part of the tribulation, which I don't believe we're entered into yet. Or kind of like this, Marx Hubbard, Alice Bailey, The Plan, quote unquote LARPy LARP, Days of Darkness, okay, where the internet goes down, okay, whatever it is, Patriots in control. This all will likely happen. That is the grand unified theory of the Great Awakening, okay. I seriously doubt that none of it's going to happen at this point. Okay, I used to be firmly in the camp that this was all LARPing. Okay, this was all LARPing. All right,
but they've kept it up for so long, and they've said it so many.
The odds are, and then we know Alice Bailey said it.
They really want it.
Yeah, Alice Bailey said it. At the turn of the century. The 1900s. So I mean, like they were saying it back then. Okay, so look, you could say that. Well, it's not going to happen because they've been saying it forever. I think it does play into the biblical end times. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Eventually, it will happen. Like, you can only laugh at lightning so many times outside, holding a golf club in the air until it actually hits you.
And we're not saying this is good. We're not saying this is good. We're not saying that, again, this is the coming beast system. This is the coming Antichrist. Okay. We're not supposed to yoke with the Antichrist as
Or
Christians
the
or
old
take the
world.
mark of the beast or the old world. Yeah, exactly. None of it. We're supposed to be separate. We're called to be separate.
This is what I've said. They made the world terrible on purpose, cartoonishly so, with Klaus and Trudeau. And look at how villainous and how cartoonish they had to be in order to get people to actually want to get moving on doing stuff about it, right? Like, people had a lot of patience with the villains of the play that they were supposed to like you said, Alice Bailey thought people will rise up in the 19th century against the evil villainy. It's been 120 years since then.
And she did say the
Very
2025.
patient. And that must infuriate them more than anything. They've been trying to goad people into overthrowing the old world for at least 120 years. And people have just been like, la, 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 la. So maybe in the end, our own stupidity and closed-mindedness and stuff has saved us in a way.
Maybe. Or maybe. I mean, ultimately,
it would have been way sooner, right?
Ultimately, it's all in God's timeline of when it happens anyway.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But the actions of people do play into that, because it's like what we said earlier about the new covenant and the old. It was like the new covenant was necessary because people failed, not because God failed, right?
And God always knew that Christ, was going to be the redemption plan
Necessary.
of man.
Yeah. He always knew what was necessary, but that doesn't mean he doesn't give you a chance.
No, not at all. All right. Well, me and S90 will be back with other shows. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care. Have a good evening.